Hi guys, Groupie is here to tell you about Betty Nueman system model. So, let's get to the video.
Here's a brief biography of the first. So, Betty Nueman was born in 1924 and lived in Lowell, Ohio. At a very young age of 11, her father died after 6 years for intermediate hospitalization for chronic kidney disease. So, her exposure in outdoors really impacted her from an early age. So, kay wa man sila kwarta, nitrabaho siya sa aircraft industry to save money for nursing school. She did begin training at People's Hospital in Akron, Ohio in 1944 in the cadet nursing program and graduated with diploma in 1947. And afterwards, she moved to Los Angeles, California to work as a staff nurse and became the head nurse of communicable diseases at LA General Hospital. And in the 1959, she earned her BSN from University of California. She got her master's degree in mental health and public health from UCLA in 1966 and was appointed chair of UCLA Mental Health Public Health Consultation Group. It was during her time in UCLA she developed her model for teaching mental health workers and using nurse specialists in mental health. Then, in 1970, she developed broader theory that focused on individuals and their functions within the system. In 1972, the first publication of the Nueman system model appeared in an article, A Model for Teaching Total Person Approach to Patient Problems. So in 1985, she earned her doctorate in clinical psychology from Pacific Western University. And she taught nursing schools and was awarded an honorary doctoral degree from Grand Valley State University.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, classmates. So these are the theoretical sources of Betty Nueman. First is general system theory. Reflects the nature of living organism as open system in interaction with each other and environment. Second is Gesell theory. Describes homeostasis as the process by which an organism maintains equilibrium and consequently its health under varying conditions. Marx. Philosophy that suggests properties of parts are determined partly by the larger whole within a dynamically organized system. Descartes. Philosophy of the wholeness of life. Selye's definition of stress. Any tension-producing stimuli that causes a response. Kaplan, adapted levels of prevention, primary, secondary, and tertiary. So these are the theoretical assumptions of Betty Nueman. The following are the assumptions are accepted through its made by Nueman system model. Each client system is unique, a composite of factors and characteristics within a given range of responses. Many known, unknown, and universal stressors exist. Each differs in its potential for disturbing a client usual stability level or normal line of defense. So the particular interrelationship of client variables at any point in time can affect the degree to which a client is protected by the flexible line of defense against possible reaction to stressors. Each client or client system has involved a normal range of responses to the environment referred to as a normal line of defense. So the normal line of defense can be used as a standard from which to measure health deviation. When the flexible line of defense is no longer capable of protecting the client or the client system against an environmental stressor, the stressor breaks through the normal line of defense. So, whether in a state of wellness or illness, the client is a dynamic composite of variables and relationships. Wellness is on a continuum of available energy to support the system in an optimal system stability state. Implicit within each client system is internal resistance factors known as lines of resistance, which function to stabilize and realign the client to the usual wellness state. The primary prevention relates to general knowledge applied in client assessment and intervention in identifying and reducing or mitigating possible or actual risk factors associated with environmental stressors to prevent a possible reaction. The secondary prevention relates to symptomatology are the following: a reaction to stressors, an appropriate ranking of intervention priorities, and treatment to reduce their noxious effect. The tertiary prevention relates to the adjustive process as reconstitution begins and maintenance factors move the client back in circular manner toward primary prevention. So the client as a system is in dynamic, constant energy exchange with the environment. That's all.
So now, let's talk about the four meta paradigm of nursing. First is the person. Human sees the person in a state of constant change and an open system and reciprocal interaction within the environment. Second is the interpersonal or external environment that exists outside of the client system. Then lastly, the created environment which interplay between open system and environment. Health. Humans define health as the condition in which all parts and subparts are in a harmony with the whole of the client. She also views health as the continuum of wellness to illness that is dynamic in nature and is constantly changing. Lastly is nursing. Newman sees nursing as a unique profession that is concerned with all the variables that influence the person that might have as stressors. The person is seen as a whole, and it is a task of a nursing to address the whole person.
I am Dayan Kikabatuan and I am going to report the theoretical assertion. The Nueman model depicts the nurse as an active participant of the client and as concerned with all the variables affecting an individual's response to stressors. The client is in reciprocal relationship with the environment in that he interacts with this environment by adjusting himself to it or adjusting it to himself. Nueman links the four concepts of person, environment, health, and nursing in her statement regarding primary, secondary, and tertiary prevention. Nueman earlier publication stated basic assumptions that link essential concepts of the model. These statements have been recognized as propositions and serve as defined, describe, and link the concept of the model. Nueman theoretical assertions have been proposed, tested, published, and noted throughout the work of Nueman and Fawcett. In logical form, Nueman used the deductive and inductive logic in developing her model because as we proceed to her works, it is general and more specific and moving from specific observation to broader generalization and theories. As previously discussed, Nueman derived her model from other theories and disciplines. The model is also a product of her philosophy and of observation made in teaching mental health nursing and clinical counseling.
So hi guys! Good afternoon, this is Sherry Jam. I'll be explaining to you the nursing practice under the Nueman's theory. So, as you can see, that is presenting the PPT there and the meaning are under the nursing practice of Nueman's theory. So, which is the the Nueman system model. It serves as the nursing practice of Nueman's. So, I'll be explaining to you briefly overall that we will be tackle about that one and explain to you in an easy term and sabutable enough to understand everything about the nursing practice of Nueman's. So the Nueman's system model DI is a wellness of the client system in relation to environmental stress and reactions to stress. She focuses more on the stress and the mental, because Nueman's prioritize the mental health of her client system, or the patient. So I'll be explaining to you elaborately, again. So it focuses, on client system, wellness, and environmental stressors that threaten optimal to the patient or the client system. So this will be the guide of the nurses on how to cope up this stressors that the client system affects on their health. So to stabilize the optimal state of the client system. So this will be their guide for the nurses to their to or client system. So mo din na ang ipasabot ni Nueman's under the nursing practice. So overall, it's a guidance for them to avoid the fragmentation of the clinical application of each nurses to their patient or clients. So that's all. So hope you understand a little bit or understand broadly of what I've discussed about the nursing practice of Nueman's theory. And I'll be explaining to you the nursing process under the Nueman's theory. So there are three nursing process under the Nueman's theory. Number one is the nursing diagnosis. Second is the nursing goals, and third is the nursing outcomes. So first is the nursing diagnosis. So nursing diagnosis is based on necessity of a thorough assessment and with consideration given to 5 variables. The 5 variables are the sociological, psychological, social-cultural, developmental, and the spiritual. So in this 3 stressor areas, first is intrapersonal, interpersonal, and extrapersonal. So that were the 3 under of the stressor areas that has meant by the nursing diagnosis. So I'll explain elaborately and briefly. So nursing diagnosis is the nurses must be diagnose, assists, and gather all the data about the clients or the patients of what he or she experiencing of or with. So next is the nursing goals. So nursing goals, this must be negotiated with the patient and take account of patients and nurses' perceptions varies from the wellness. So wellness again is the interaction, the client system interaction in harmony, interacts in harmony. So it's effectively to him or her with that patient. So briefly explain nursing goals, their aim or goal on how to cope up from that diagnosed of what the nurses diagnose of that certain patient or client, as Nueman's name the patient as a client. And lastly, the nursing outcomes. So the nursing outcomes considered in relation to find variables and achieved through interventions. So these three interventions, the primary, secondary, and tertiary interventions. So I'll explain it briefly. After the long process, from the beginning, from the start of process, which is the diagnosis, then second, the goals, the nursing goals of how to cope up, that certain dilemma from the diagnosis of what the patient or a certain client experience in his or her health, and up to the last is the nursing outcomes. So after giving the nursing aim or nursing goal, if that client or patient is effectively or having that harmoniously applies the goal for the goal of nurses to that patient, if it is applicable enough, then either negative or positive, it depends on the intervention. If it is under primary, secondary, and tertiary interventions. So I'll be showing the next slide, which is the examples on how to apply the nursing process under the Nueman's theory. So the type of client or patient is sociological, and the nursing diagnosis is under not tolerating any activity associated with weakness. So when you diagnose, the nursing has diagnosed about the client's condition. And the nursing aim or nursing goal is helping the patient or client carry out activities without depending on others, because of what the client or patient has been experiencing about his or her sociological aspect or problem, to not tolerating with weaknesses to others. So, and the lastly is the nursing outcomes. So it's achieved or under the secondary prevention or intervention. So that's it. That's the example or how to do the nursing process under the Nueman's theory. So that's all the nursing process.
Good day everyone, I am Andrea Liana Limpot from section NU102, and our topic for today is all about Nueman system model, and I am assigned in nursing research, education, and nursing science. So first, let's talk about nursing research. A significant amount of research has been conducted the past decade on the components and the models to aid nursing theory and use of the model as a conceptual framework to advance nursing as a scientific discipline. So, to explain further, research helps nurses determine effective best practices and improve patient care. The findings from their peer-reviewed studies can correct all misunderstandings, pave the way for new treatment protocols, and create new methodology, all of which improve patient outcomes. They provide a foundational knowledge of care concept that enables those in the profession to explain what they do for patients and the reasons for their actions. This is particularly important because it helps nurses articulate evidence that justifies the methodologies behind their practice. So next is nursing education. Nursing education. The model is well accepted in academia and is used widely as a curriculum guide. So, based on my research, nursing education, it helps nurses to understand their purpose and role in the healthcare settings. So the last one is nursing science.
So nursing science is developed in theories and practical concepts for improving how clinicals and patients administer care and manage conditions. It merges the worlds of natural, applied, and human science into multi-dimensional lens that explores new, better ways to deliver health services. And that will be all. Thank you.
Theory critic of Nueman system model. Betty-Newman theory views individual as a system made up by physiological, psychological, sociocultural, spiritual, and developmental subparts. To create these guidelines, the model defines the factors that influence people's reactions to stressor stimuli, which include body temperature, response pattern, physical health, mental health, and genetic makeup. The theory is based on the idea that a person can remain stable as long as stressors they are exposed to do not exceed the resources they maintain to cope with them. Through utilizing the philosophical ideas of holism, wellness, motivation, perception, and partnership, nursing practitioners can apply the Nueman theory in order to ensure for efficient and effective operations both within clinical setting as well as within the classroom. The nursing theory by Chim and Kramer will be used to critique human system model. This theory will be used to critique the clarity, simplicity, generalizability, accessibility, and importance of human system model. First one is the clarity. Within the model, the scope and definition are clear and well defined through the compartmentalization of the separate concept of the model. Through using the four nursing paradigms of human being, environment, health, and nursing principles, it makes the general method simple and straightforward, with easily identifiable definition and concise guideline for client interaction. Clarity must congruent traditional nursing values and consistent with other non-nursing theories. The second one is simplicity. The Nueman system model divides the philosophy and strategies of the model into four key paradigms of human being, environment, health, and nursing principles. From here, it logically interconnects the subparts to better understand how the different factors all result in different outcomes. Once these basic principles and factors are understood, it makes for an easily deployable model of client interactions. Simplicity. It is simple for people, especially health or medical-related professionals, who can understand the concept of health continuum. The third one was generalizability. The four paradigms of the system model allows it to apply to several different circumstances, depending on the nature of the clients and the stressors within the environment. This makes the theory broad and robust in scope, such that it can apply in circumstances involving clinical environments, as well as in educational and administrative settings. Generality of this theory is applicable in any healthcare settings. The theory is comprehensive and adaptable.
Next is the importance or the significance of Nueman system model. So Nueman's conceptual model, we know that the conceptual model are the patient, the health, the environment, and etc. It includes the guidelines for the professional nurse for assessment of the client system, use of the nursing process, and implementation of preventive intervention, which are all important to delivery of care. A major feature of model is its potential to generate nursing theory. For example, the theories of optimal client stability and prevention as intervention, Fawcett 1995. And the model concepts are highly relevant for use by health professionals in the 21st century, according to Fawcett 1989 to 1995. So in conclusion, the Nueman system model is really important because it's constructed in a way that is applicable in the real world of nursing. Nueman even offers an integrative review of model in practice, research, education, and administration. The Nueman system model gives an opportunity for nurses to address the essential issue by making them aware of the different levels of patient stress, areas for intervention, and by providing a critical assessment and an intervention tool. Accessibility. From the word accessibility in nursing is ability to get a medical care and the services when it's needed. So the accessibility in Nueman system model, the model has been tested and is used extensively to guide nursing research. Early work Hoffman 1982, Lewis and Kurt Pelisi 1989 provided initial documentation of empirical support. So it means that The system model has been proven to be feasible, or the model is used extensively in several different places of nursing care. Even this day, the Nueman system is actually used for the client approach for other responses to stressor. This model is still ongoing to gain more knowledge, research more study by the nurse researcher. This for the reason to increase the model's empirical precision, because this model is really useful for the conceptual model of our nursing research.